Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all for the personality test guidance program conducted by KingMakers IS Academy. So, KingMakers IS Academy is known and reputed for its personality test development program. And we gave this personality test coaching for more than 1,000 aspirants in the last 4 years. And we have produced 2 times, we have produced the All India personality test topper. So, in personality test, we have produced the topper. So, that is the beauty of this program. So we have designed a specific module where we are training the aspirants who are going to the personality test by conducting DAF analysis, one-on-one session and current affairs session. And finally, we'll be having a mock interview. So these are all the things which we have planned. So first of all, in KingMakers personality test guidance program, we once the results are out, so anytime it is expected in the next 2 months, the results will be out. So once the results are out and your DAFs are ready, we'll be doing this DAF analysis. In this DAF analysis, we'll be giving questions related to DAF. So almost we will be brainstorming 200 to 250 questions based on the DAF, and we'll be giving it to you in the PDF format. So if you could go and see the testimonials of the toppers of the last few years, they would have said that these DAF questions, which was taken by KingMakers, was very much useful for them when they were preparing for the personality test. So that is the first feature of this. Next, we'll be having a detailed one-on-one session. So you'll be having one-on-one session with bureaucrats, retired bureaucrats and serving bureaucrats who will be coming and handling one-on-one session where they will be guiding you, they will be molding you. They will be helping you out for answering the question. It will not be a conventional interview. So they'll be helping you there with respect to answering questions. So when a question is posted in front of you, we all know what is the current issue happening because we all prepared for the preliminary. We cleared the preliminary. We cleared the mains. So we all know what is going to be the answer. But in this session, the bureaucrats will help you to frame a sentence. So they'll be helping you to how to frame a sentence, how to say an answer. So this part of the thing will be identified here. We all know what stands to say with respect to Israel-Palestine issue and how to answer a question regarding Israel-Palestine. But what is the sentence we are going to use? Which words we are going to use? So these kind of small things will be done in the one-on-one session, which will be personalized at the same time DAF specific also. So that is one speciality. Next, we have planned current affairs session. So if you could take in the personality test, from where the questions are coming. So if you just open the Telegram and search for the interview transcripts, even in the in India Baig channel also, we are having a detailed PDF which is almost 1,000 pages PDF with the interview transcript for the last few years. So if you go through the interview transcript, you will find one important theme. So what is the theme is the questions are coming only from a few areas. So first of all, questions are coming from DAF. So we should be ready with the DAF related questions. And the next important area from where the questions are coming is current affairs. So the current affairs which came on that day. So that week's current affairs or that day's current affairs or that month's current affairs, any news, anything which is there in news, immediately they are asking a question. Hey, what's happening there? Hey, what's happening in Uttarkashi? Hey, what's happening in West Bengal? What's happening in Tamil Nadu? So likewise, Indian-based questions also been asked and international relational-based questions are also asked. What's happening in Pakistan? What is the issue which is going on in Sri Lanka? Can you say what is this Nagorno-Karabakh issue in Azerbaijan? So these kind of things are the current issues which happened in the recent times. From there also, they are asking questions. So international relation is a very important theme for interview test. If you take any candidate attending the personality test, there will be at least one question from international relations for all. Of course, for those who are taking political science optional, for them, the personality test, the international relation questions will be higher. But at least 1 or 2 questions they'll be asking related to international relations or global issues for each and every one of you. So that has been a theme. Apart from that, the other areas from where the questions might come is the policy issues. So the areas we have to focus with respect to PT is, first we have to be thorough with our DAF and we have to be ready with all the questions which might arise from the detailed application form. The second important thing is the current events which is of national and international importance. That is the very first line of our syllabus in preliminary, current events of national and international importance. So those current events of national importance happened on that day, in that week, in that month, or in the span of 2-3 months. All those events, we should be knowing what is what kind of basic awareness. So that is the second important thing. The next important thing from where we can expect question is international relations. So international relation has been a common theme. And the fourth priority area is the policy decision. So any policy decision or any policy issue, whichever is happening. So focus on these four areas while preparing for the personality tests. So this is the brief introduction. So let us go into the session now. I hope most of you would have joined. So I welcome you all for the Personality Test Guidance Program. I am Adil Baig. I am Indian Economy and International Relations faculty in KingMakers IAS Academy. I am teaching Economy and International Relations in KingMakers for the last 6 years. I am also a faculty in All India Civil Services Coaching Center, which is the official government of Tamil Nadu's IAS Coaching Center. So I work in both the KingMakers IAS Academy and in the Tamil Nadu government's official IAS Coaching Center, which is there in Chennai. So I also teach there. I also post videos in their YouTube channel. And I am running a weekly current affairs initiative for the last 3 years. For the last 3 years, continuously, I am running a weekly current affairs initiative. That is 5 editorials of the week. Of course, it will be in the bilingual mode. That is English and Tamil. But I'm running this for the past 3 years in our KingMakers IAS Academy YouTube channel. And it's called 5 editorials of the week. Where those people who understand English and Tamil. So it will be in the bilingual mode. You can go and see those videos for any current affairs issue based. So it is totally it is going to be issue based analysis. For those who might not understand Tamil, what you can do is if you go to the description box of 5 editorials of the week video, you will find a PDF. In that PDF, for the last 3 years, whatever issues were there in the news, I have segregated all the issues which were there in news for the last 3 years. So all the issues means mains related issues. It's not prelims related one, it's mains related one. So all the mains related issues have segregated into GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, and I have posted a PDF. So you can use that PDF for topic and title identification. Okay, so that is the speciality of that particular initiative. And this is the brief introduction about me. So now we'll go into the today's session. So what is ever? So there are certain basic instruction with respect to personality tests. So always we have to remember these things. The first and foremost thing with respect to personality tests, answering any question with respect to be it international relations or any question they are asking, honesty. Honesty is very, very important. So honesty in the sense, be true to you, be true to yourself, be true to your opinions. At the same time, don't try to fake anything out there in the personality test. Be yourselves. So that is very important. If you know the answer, give your answer. If you don't know the answer, be polite and be simply say, I cannot remember. So honesty is the most important aspect with respect to personality tests. And we have studied about emotional intelligence in our ethics. So of course, we would have written the mains now. Emotional intelligence is a very important thing with respect to personality tests. We have to maintain our composure. We have to maintain our emotion. So in personality test, there will be provoking questions. The interviewers will try to provoke us. So they will try to provoke us by asking certain questions. Sometimes they will be explicitly they will be provoking us. Sometimes the provoking will be implicit, it will be covert. So when they are provoking us in an implicit way, we might not be knowing that they are trying to provoke us, but we will be going into the trap. So we have to be very cautious with respect to what we speak and how we answer, which is considered to be a very good interview. If you ask the seniors who over cleared the exam with good marks, which is considered to be the very good interview, and what kind of interviews got high marks, if you see, those interviews where emotion level was calm. So where the aspirants are having calm and composed emotion levels throughout the session. So those kind of sessions got the most number of marks. So try to maintain the same emotions, same composure throughout the interview. Answer after understanding the totality of the situation. So don't go into the specific details or don't go into any specific things. Any question they are asking with respect to issue, like for example, it might be an Israel-Palestine issue, or it can be a Ukraine-Russia issue, or it can be related to Taiwan issue. So all these issues, or it can be India-Pakistan issue. For those coming from Tamil Nadu, they'll ask about the Sri Lankan Elam issue. So whenever they are asking the question, don't get trapped into the specificity. Always see the totality of the situation. Answer the questions by understanding a holistic total picture from government of India's point of view, from the nation's point of view, and understand the issue holistically. So give an answer in such a way that all the stakeholders are covered and it is benefiting the maximum. So those kinds of answers are generally expected. Follow the golden mean approach. So we would have studied in our ethics preparation, that is golden mean. We have to always be, we should not be taking any extreme sides. Always give a balanced answer. Always understand and analyze both the sides of the coin and then give a balanced answer. So that is golden mean. We have to be in the mean area and Madhya Marga. So that is what we call Madhya Marga in our own tradition in Buddhism. So always maintain this Madhyam Marga while answering the personality test questions. So don't take any extreme stances, be it right-wing extreme or left-wing extreme. So always try to maintain a balanced golden mean based answer. So that is very important. They will try to provoke you in the personality test. So we should not be provoked. Any kind of questions, we have to take a pause. Whenever a question is coming, we have to take a pause. We have to analyze whatever question they are asking, and then we have to answer. But we are not having time for taking a pause and analyzing an answer. We cannot take 5 minutes or we cannot take 3 minutes. We have to just take few seconds, maybe a 20 seconds, maximum 20 to 25 seconds we can take, and then we can answer. It can't be more than 20 to 25 seconds. Okay, so within that you can pause, analyze, or and then answer. Unless or until they are giving time. Sometimes they will give, I'll give you 1 minute time, think, or they will be say, I'll give you 2 minutes time, you can think. So if they are giving us time, then we can take our time. Otherwise, we have to we have to pause, analyze, and answer. So that is very important. So next, use your words wisely. So this is very important thing because most of the transcripts, if you are reading, most of the questions which the interviewer is asking is from the words which we have given in the previous question's answer. So they'll be asking a simple question. We'll be giving an answer. And the follow-up question in the most of the occasions is from the answer what the person has given, and that will go into a chain. So we have seen a lot of chains like that. So I read a transcript where they asked the question. I'll just explain this. They asked a question regarding Make in India. Government is talking about Make in India. What is your opinion regarding Make in India? So this was the question. The aspirant was answering gave an answer regarding Make in India. So from that Make in India, I think so, he mentioned about PLI scheme and pharmaceuticals. So then they asked about what is the potential of pharmaceuticals. That is the next question. So when that person was answering pharmaceutical-based question, that person mentioned a word regarding the import of active pharmaceutical ingredient from China. So that person said that we are importing API and KPI, key starting material, KSM, from China. So since that person mentioned China, so then they directly jumped into China. So they asked this question. So India, at one side, we are having problem with respect to line of actual control. On the other side, we are importing a lot of things from China. So how do you think we have to balance between these strategic and defense related issues and economic related issues? So directly they jump to the international relations. So a random Make in India question can take you to a international relations based question just because of the answers which we gave. So then that person gave an answer with respect to India, China. So then a few follow-up questions were totally based on China. So how we can solve this border issue? What can be the line of actual control issue? How it can be solved? So what about India participating in the Belt and Road Initiative? What do you know about Belt and Road Initiative? So like that, the issue started off in Make in India and it ended up in the Belt and Road Initiative. So this was one thing. So we have to use our words wisely. So this is very important with respect to personality tests. And I can also quote another example where a random question from a policy-based question, it went up into the international relations. So interviewer asked about a question regarding Deep Ocean mission. So why don't you explain briefly about the Deep Ocean mission which government is planning, something like that. So that was the question. That person was answering regarding Deep Ocean mission and the marine resources. Then the follow-up question directly went to what do you know about the nautical, how many nautical miles we are having exclusive economic zone? Can you say what is that? So they asked the factual question regarding the maritime borders. So that person gave an answer regarding maritime borders. Then they asked which international treaty is guiding this. So then the answer was it is United Nations Convention of Law of Sea. Then they directly went to South China Sea. So recently there is an issue in South China Sea where China is not following the United Nations Convention of Law of Sea. What is your opinion about this? How belligerent China is? So they went directly to that. When that person was answering regarding South China Sea, that person mentioned East China Sea. So from there they directly went to what is the impact on Korea and Japan with respect to this? With respect to China's international, that person answered something regarding Korea. So from South Korea, they are asking question. So since this person used the word called South Korea in the answer, their following question was not regarding South Korea, but regarding North Korea. So South Korea is sharing a maritime border, so then there is an issue. What about North Korea? North Korea is sharing a land border, and they are being benefited a lot from China because of the land border. So how can tackle North Korea, and how we can use China as a tool to bring in peace and reforms with respect to North Korea? Because of late, the sanctions are not working with respect to controlling North Korea. So North Korea is going without any control. So the question was how we can stop North Korea. So the issue started off in the deep ocean mission, and it ended up in the how we can control North Korea. So this is how the questions are going. So in somehow or other, the interviewers are bringing international issues inside the interview. So be it any aspirants from any background, from any optional, we will be having question from international relations. So that's why we have to read this most importantly. So we have to use our words. So if we know that we are not strong in certain areas, it is better to avoid such words. Of course, we can't be consciously talking there by using which word to avoid. That's a bit difficult. But with practice and with a lot of one-on-one sessions, you can get to that. A lot of mirror sessions, you can get to that. Make in India question ended up with India-China relation. A deep ocean mission ended up with the North Korea issue. So these are all the two examples which I read with respect to the transcripts. I advise you, after the results, whoever got selected for the personality development, personality test, I hope all the participants here, all the 18 participants who are attending the session get selected to the personality test. If you are selected, I advise you to read the transcripts. So reading the transcripts and analyzing the trends will help you out a lot with respect to your own preparation. Okay. So what is the trends with respect to IR question? So this is the overall basic instruction for the personality test. Now let us understand what is the trend with respect to IR. With respect to international relations, what is the trend? So the first and foremost thing I would like to say is PSAR optional. So among the participants, anyways, anyone there who's from PSAR optional? Can I get any answer? Is there anyone who's from PSAR?
Yes, sir. I'm from PSIR background.
Yeah, we are having Chaitanya from PSAR. Anyone else? Not PSAR, but MA Political Science by Sanyam. Yeah. So I actually saw a person wrote bachelor's in nautical sciences. That person was asked a question regarding sailor, what is sailmanship and all those things. And that ended up with the South China Sea issue again. So actually the person who got the South China Sea question and deep ocean mission was asked the deep ocean mission question because that person had the bachelor's in the this particular thing. So nautical sciences. So if your optional is political science, and if you have studied political science, then surely you can expect a lot of questions. So if you take the interview transcripts and see those people who had PSAR optional, they had a lot of questions from IR. So you have to be prepared for IR related questions. And with respect to PSAR, you will be tested both with respect to your opinion and with respect to your knowledge also. So they will be trying your opinion. What is your opinion with respect to various issues? And at sometimes they will also be testing your knowledge. So both the tests will happen. Okay. So since Manu Garg mentioned JNU, I read an interesting transcript. So Manu Garg is telling that he had a PSAR optional and also doing MA in IR in JNU. So I saw a transcript where a person studied in JNU. Since that person was from JNU, the first question was regarding non-aligned movement. So you are from JNU, from Jawaharlal Nehru University. One of the very important thing with respect to Jawaharlal Nehru's foreign policy was non-aligned movement. Can you talk about the relevance of non-aligned movement? So since the person was from JNU, the question was from NAM. So this is how the international relation-based questions are coming. So that is one interesting transcript I read. So this is the first thing which we have to remember. The second thing is achievements. Those people in our DAF will be mentioning in our achievement that I attended Model UN, I attended Model G20 Summit, or some Model international conferences. If you would have mentioned that you attended some Model international conference as a delegate representing certain country. So I saw a person who attended Model UN. In a transcript, I read that that person has mentioned that person represented some country in Model UN. The questions were totally one of the panel members asked all the questions only relating to United Nations. Why United Nations was formed? What are all the problems in United Nations? How we can reform United Nations? How we can reform the UNSC Security Council? So these kind of questions were asked to that person, and one person was representing. I think so. That person was representing Argentina in Model G20. So since that person was representing Argentina in Model G20, that person was asked the question related to Argentina. So what is the local politics happening there in Argentina? So these kind of things are expected. If like by mentioning PSAR, by mentioning model event, directly we are welcoming the IR related question. So all these people who have mentioned this, we have to be very careful. And the next important trend with respect to international relations based questions is just where has PM visited? So this is one common trend I used to give. I'm reading the transcripts for the last 2-3 years. So in the all the transcripts which I read in the last 2-3 years, I find this kind of questions commonly. PM has visited this so and so country. So why the PM has visited? What is the significance of the visit? So why PM has visited that? What is the significance? And I have also seen the question, where is our PM now currently? So this was a question was asked. So we cannot be tracing our prime minister where the prime minister is going every day. Of course, we can see social media. But why that person was asked such a question? Because when the interview was going, recently there was a SCO conference, Shanghai Cooperation Organization conference was happening in Goa, I think. So since SCO conference was happening in Goa, that person got questions totally from what is the significance of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. That person said that this is the significance of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Next question was, who are all the members of SCO? And there is one Central Asian country which is not member of SCO. Which country is that? That person said that Turkmenistan is not the member. Then the follow-on question is, why Turkmenistan is not a member? So they are also asking questions from who are all the members. So these are all the things which we have to remember. So when we are, if now we are studying G20 means we should be knowing who are all the members of G20. All these things we would have studied in prelims. But these kind of things are also being asked in the personality test with respect to members of the international organizations. Like if you are talking about RCEP, you make sure that you know which are all the members of the RCEP or Trans-Pacific Partnership or BIMSTEC or whatever. Then another common trend with respect to IR-based question is that what is happening in Dash? What is happening in Pakistan? Or what is happening in Sri Lanka? Or what is happening in Myanmar? So these kind of questions is very common with respect to personality test. What is special now in foreign affairs? So this one is also they are asking. What is now special in foreign affairs? So for us, it is going to be G20 summit, which we had recently, or India getting the chairmanship with respect to the United Nations Security Council. That is one thing. And if you go currently, then the questions can be with respect to India-Canada relations, or India's stance with respect to Israel issue, or questions regarding India's negotiations of free trade agreement with UK or European Union. So these are all the current issues which is going in the foreign affairs now. So we have to be aware of what is the thing which is happening in foreign affairs. This what is special in foreign affairs now question is being asked even to those people who are not PSAR and nowhere related to any international thing. So it is a common thing which they are asking. What is happening in Dash? What is happening in Uttarkashi? So these kind of questions are common. So I saw a question where the person was asked, what is happening in Sri Lanka? That what is the current economic crisis going in Sri Lanka? So in the last interview, that person said this is the current economic balance of payment crisis is happening. That's why Sri Lankan economy is. What is the reason for it? The follow-up question is, what is the reason where Sri Lanka went wrong? So that person said that these are all the areas why Sri Lanka went wrong. So do you think India will also go wrong? Is there anything where India is also making any mistakes which might end up with respect to Sri Lanka? So these kind of questions are indirectly a trap-based questions where they are asking the problems in Sri Lanka. The follow-up question is there any problem in India like what Sri Lanka is doing? So if we would have read a lot of criticism, a lot of issues, we can easily be trapped there. But if you are telling something controversial, that might be a trap there. So we have to be very cautious. That person said these are all certain policy issues with respect to India, with respect to poverty, inequality. These kind of things you can shortly say that is not going to be any issue now. So that person said some issues which is happening in India. And then whether India helped Sri Lanka or not, what kind of help India did. So that person said India helped Sri Lanka by doing the waiver of loans, and they did the currency swap and all those things, that person said. And then the follow-up question was, why did Sri Lanka went to IMF? So what is the provisions which is there in IMF? In IMF, how a country can borrow? So this was the question. That person said, in IMF we can borrow through quota mechanism. We are having rapid financing facility. We are having quotas. We are having special drawing rights. All these things the person said. The follow-up question was, what are all the problems in IMF and World Bank in the off late? Why IMF and World Bank is losing its significance in the recent times? Do you think it is still losing it? So this is the follow-up question. So the issue started off with what's happening in Sri Lanka, and that ended up in IMF-based reforms. So with respect to prelims preparation or with respect to mains preparation, we just take and we read, we do the background work, and we go. But personality test preparation is totally a different ballgame. So you should be doing mind maps with respect to personality tests. Like if you are preparing any issue for personality test, always we should be thinking what can be the follow-up question. What can be the follow-up question? So whenever any issue you are studying, just brainstorm the follow-up question. If you're having any friend who's preparing for personality test, make groups, do the brainstorming part. Even if you're not having a friends who are doing personality tests, call your any other friend who has not qualified, but still they'll be ready to help. So go to them, do the regular interview. One of my friends who went to the interview, what he did was 2 years back, one of my friends went to the interview. So that person, what he did was every day morning, that person will go to his friend every day morning when they are after the brushing up, while they are drinking tea, they will be having an individual personality test daily for half an hour. Every day morning while drinking tea, both of my friends, they will be having a separate personality test things. So this person, my another friend, will be asking questions. Here the person will be continuously shooting questions. That person will be answering, and they'll be fine tuning. So in these kind of casual discussions, we'll get to know a lot of dimensions. In many ways, when we are in the situation of preparation, we might not get different dimensions. So those person who's not in the situation, that person will be having an open mind. Since we are in the situation, since we are going to the personality test, we might be tensed. So our mind will not be opened up during the preparation. So at that time, when we are asking help from a person who's not preparing for personality test, that person will be having an open mind, and that person will be giving a lot of dimensions which is not striking to us. So those dimensions can be used for our own preparation, and those dimensions will help us. So whatever the dimensions coming, prepare answer for everything. So this is how we get ready. So sometimes we might not get the direct question. So we would have prepared a lot. Most of the aspirants said that I prepared a lot for the personality test, but none of the questions came. So this is one of the common thing which the person will say. See, if you see the same thing, they'll say even for prelims and for mains. So that is a common thing. But one thing which we have to understand here is when we are preparing, we will be brainstorming a lot of additional questions. So these additional questions, even though they are not helping us directly, they will help us indirectly. So for one policy issue, if we if we found the way to tackle it in one particular way, that question might not reflect, but the way which you found on how to tackle such a question will be useful in answering another question. So that is the thing which you have to understand with respect to this. So now you learned that a question from deep ocean mission can end you up till North Korea. This is one lesson which you learned today. So this lesson will be helpful. So tomorrow you will be preparing another thing. It might be regarding Gaganyaan. So if deep ocean mission ended up in North Korea, then you will be preparing. What if I start with Gaganyaan, where it will end? So Gaganyaan might go and end with respect to Russia, India-Russia relations, or it will be end up in India-France relations, because India is collaborating with Russia and France with respect to the Gaganyaan mission. So it can also go and end up with respect to India-USA space collaborations, or it might go to the Elon Musk also. So we don't know how it will branch out. But this one example of deep ocean mission ending up in North Korea relations, this experience will help you to brainstorm other questions and other areas. So that is a point which I am trying to convey. So form groups, make friends, and do the practice. So another common mistake which the aspirant do with respect to preparation is personality test preparation is they'll be studying. So they'll be just studying, they'll be taking various PDFs, they'll be reading a lot of websites, they'll be reading. So reading is not useful with respect to personality tests. Of course, we have to read, but that is not going to be useful. how we will be learning a language. See, if you want to learn a language, you have to practice it. If you want to write a language, you have to do answer writing. So for main preparation, we are going to write an answer. Since we have to write an answer, we did the answer writing practice. For personality test, we are going to talk. We are going to converse. So if conversation is what is going to give us mark, then you have to do as many conversations as possible. So I'm not telling go to all the institute possible and take all the marks possible. So taking multiple marks will work or not, it depends. Many people have said it worked for them. Many people have said it didn't work for them. So whether taking multiple mark is going to work or not, that's a different thing. But what I suggest is, instead of going to the multiple mark, have multiple friends who can ask you casual questions and who can corner you even in your own PG room or in your own tea shop. So make groups and study. So then another trend which I would like to do now is 2 years. For the last 2 years, we are having this Russia-Ukraine crisis. So in 2022 personality test, there were questions from Russia-Ukraine. And even in 2023 personality test, there were questions with respect to Russia-Ukraine. So since for the last 2 years, there were questions with respect to Russia-Ukraine, that is a very big benchmark for us to understand how questions might come with respect to Israel-Palestine. So for the last 2 years, Russia-Ukraine was a major thing. Now it is going to be Israel-Palestine. So nowhere near, now we had a ceasefire recently, but Israel-Palestine issue is going to continue. And you can expect a lot of questions there. By reading the trends of questions which they ask with respect to Russia-Ukraine, we have to understand, we'll be getting to know what kind of questions will be coming for Israel-Palestine. Okay. So the most common question which were asked to the interviewing aspirants was, when will the war end? So they didn't ask why Russia attacked, blah, 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 all those things. They didn't ask about the history. They didn't ask about NATO. What they asked, when will the war end? So this was the most common question. I could see this when will the war questions in both the years. They asked the same question in 2022 transcripts also. I saw the same question in 2023 transcripts also. When will the war end? This is a common theme. Then who can negotiate peace? So this is a question. So which country will be suitable? According to your opinion, which country will be suitable to negotiate peace? What is your suggestion? So this is one common trend which they are asking. Who is the ultimate beneficiary of war? Since Russia-Ukraine war is going, who is the ultimate beneficiary? So for this question, that answer that the person said the ultimate beneficiary of Russia-Ukraine war is US. So since US and world arms manufacturing company, they are going to be the ultimate beneficiary because a lot of arms and ammunitions are going to be sold. So they are going to be the beneficiary. That was yes. But the interviewer was why not China? So I'm not asking with respect to business point of view. I'm asking with respect to geopolitics point of view. Who's going to be the beneficiary? Then is it not China? This is what the question which was asked by the interviewer. Then the person said, yes, of course, China is going to be the beneficiary because this war is going to weaken Russia and it will increase the dependence of Russia with China. So this was the answer given by the person. Then the follow-up question went into the Cold War 2.0. How this Cold War 2.0, whether the Cold War 2.0 will arrive or not, what are all the issues in front of world? So that was the question. That person gave an answer. Then the follow-up question was, they directly went to what will be the role of India? Now, how India is going to handle a Cold War kind of a situation if it arises with West on the one side and Russia-China axis on the other side. So what will be India doing? So this is the question. So they started off with who is the ultimate beneficiary of war, and they ended up with what steps India will be taking. So the ultimate point here is brainstorm. So we have to brainstorm as many questions as possible. Russia is alleged for breaching which international law? So they are asking a factual question: which international law, which convention Russia is breaching, where Russia is doing mistakes. So that person gave the law. What are all the arguments from Russia? Why Russia invaded? So what are all the arguments from Russia? That question also was asked. And how is Ukraine sustaining this war? So these are all the questions which they commonly ask, like how Ukraine is sustaining the war. So one global response was with respect to Ukraine was that all the Western countries led by USA, they have imposed the sanctions on Russia. So these economic sanctions are weakening Russia economically at one dimension. The second dimension was that all these Western countries were providing arms support and ammunition support and defense support to Ukraine. So the sanctions and the financial support from the West to Ukraine is what helping Ukraine to sustain the war. And now war has went into the stalemate push. So this was the answer. So these are all the questions which they asked with respect to Russia, Ukraine. So now what we have to do? Now we have to take our own issue of Israel, Palestine, which is happening now. That is what is expected for this year. So the question is not about 1,000 years history of Israel Palestine. Yes, there can be a question from the 100 years history or 1,000 years history why this issue is going, all those things. But we have to be innovatively ready to be futuristic, ready to face futuristic questions. Like there can be a question regarding when will this Israel-Palestine issue will end? Is there a possible solution? Whether the two-state solution is still relevant? Whether the two-state solution is losing its significance? Whether two-state solution is the right solution or single-state solution is the right solution? So these kind of questions we have to expect. The questions will be futuristic. The recent actions of Israel has weakened the two-state solution, substantiate. So these kind of questions can come. Who can be the person to negotiate the peace with respect to Israel-Palestine? Of course, it cannot be USA because it's going to be one-sided. So we have to give answer in a right way. Who is the ultimate beneficiary of war? So which international law Israel is breaching? Whether using the human shield is right or not. So by taking the references from the past, we have to get ready for our own questions which we might face. So this is one important trend which we have to understand. So based on, so these are all the basic trends. So with respect to PSIR optional people and those who have mentioned Model UN or Model G20 or any international conferences in your DAF, get ready to face questions from there directly. But even though you are not mentioned anything regarding international relations in your DAF, you will be asked some international relations issue because most of the people are getting questions from that. So be ready. Or some Make in India question or deep ocean question also can ended up into an IR question. So adanala IR is a common theme which is there. So we have to understand that. Next, where PM has visited. So whether PM is visiting somewhere or our external affairs is visiting somewhere or our president or vice president, if they are visiting somewhere, we have to keep track of that. Generally, we'll not keep track of it on a day-to-day basis. Generally, most of the aspirants of late, they are not studying current affairs on the daily basis. They are using this monthly magazine and we'll be studying it a few months before preliminary and they'll be revising it. But when you are doing personality test preparation for the next 3 months, from now till your interview date, you read daily newspapers, read daily headlines, follow the prime minister and follow the policy decisions and follow the foreign policy of the government. What's happening in Dash? So this is a common theme. So we have to be studying, make best use of editorials, make best use of FAQs, and use the Express. Indian Express is having a beautiful Express Explained section where they are explaining a lot of things. Follow Express Explained on a daily basis for the next 3 months if you are going to attend the personality test to be updated. So based on my analysis of the last 1 year and by seeing the trends, I have identified a list of topics which might be a potential ones for this year's personality test. So I'm just listing out the topics. I request you all to note down the topics because what I felt was these 10 topics are the top 10 topics. So these 10 topics we should be ready to face. One is Israel-Palestine and Hamas conflict. So obviously, the next one is India-Canada relation and the Khalistani movement. This is going to be the hot topic for this year's personality test. And those people who are coming from Punjab or with Sikh origin, you have to be expecting questions from here. But of course, not only them, everyone also will be asked questions from India, Canada. So we have to be ready with respect to India, Canada relation and Khalistani movement. Study a bit of history about Khalistani movement. Next, Ukraine-Russia war, even though it's in stalemate, still we might be questioned for how many years this war is going to be, whether it will be ending up in stalemate, what's happening in Donbass or what's happening in Kharkiv. So these kind of questions they might be asking. So what is the current situation of the Ukraine-Russia war? It's been almost 1.5 years. What is happening there? So these kind of questions we can expect. G20 outcomes. So G20 is a big event which took place in India for this 2023. So 2023, we had a lot of big events in India, including the Cricket World Cup. But of course, yeah, we can also expect question from Cricket World Cup also. So have a tab on that also. If you, even though if you're not following cricket, just have an idea. But G20 will be a short theme with respect to this year's personality test. So make sure that you are preparing about G20 nook and corner and be ready with whatever questions they are going to ask. Next is India, China, and Cold War 2.0. So this India, China thing, I am seeing this India, China question in the last 3 years consistently. So be there a recent issue or not, they will ask a question regarding India, China, because foreign policy question means the first thing that will come to the mind is India, China only. So now India, Pakistan has become a secondary issue for us because India, China is getting the forefront because of the emerging Cold War kind of situation with West on the one side and China, Russia axis on the other side. So be ready to prepare, be ready for questions regarding India, China, how to tackle China, how we can counter China, how to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative, how to counter China with respect to Indian Ocean region, how to counter China in South China Sea, how we can collaborate with the Southeast Asian countries and East Asian countries. So these kind of questions are going to be there. So they might also ask something, some interesting questions like how we can solve the border conflict. Or they will be they can also ask a question regarding the exchanging of the territories. Like for example, in 50s, well, they were in 1950s when India and China were negotiating this border issue during the Zhou time. There was this famous offer. Of course, it is alleged that China gave this offer that I'll keep the Aksai Chin and you keep Arunachal Pradesh. So they offered Arunachal Pradesh to India and they asked Aksai Chin for themselves. So whether this is a solution, can we bring that solution back on the present times? They will ask. So if this question is a very tricky question and very sensitive question and very dangerous question too, because we can easily say that yes, we can give up Aksai Chin and we can take Arunachal Pradesh and we can solve the issue. But if that is going to be any answer you give, there will be follow-up questions and there will be follow-up questions which might be tricky. So if you say that yes, we can take that offer, we can give the Aksai Chin and we can take Arunachal Pradesh, then it is against the sovereignty of India because we are giving up territory. We should not be in a position that we should not be telling that we'll be giving away our land. So don't take that stance at all. So if you are telling that, surely you will be grilled. So you have to be expecting the grilling which is going to come. If you say that no, we should not take that offer, we should stand our ground and we should negotiate, then the counter question will be regarding the stalemate. So the thing here is what we have to understand with respect to personality test is there is nothing called a right answer in personality test. So this is the right answer. No, your answer can be anything. The thing is your answer can be anything. You should be ready to face the follow-up questions. You should maintain the same composure in the follow-up question. You should maintain your emotional intelligence in the follow-up questions. You should be answering your follow-up question in the same way. So then they will ask a counter question. You should be answering that counter question in the same way. So this personality test is not about what opinion this person is having. It's about what attitude this person is having. When this person is cornered, how that person is reacting. So our reactions and our composure and our attitude is being what tested rather than what is our knowledge. So we have to understand that. So if that is the case, any answer you give, how you are giving the answer, in what stature you are giving the answer, and how polite you are and how composed you are, that is what is going to play the game. And it's not about whether this answer is right or this answer is right, which opinion to take. It can be anything. But one of the best opinion, whenever you are answering question regarding international relations, always go for the government of India's official stance and take points. Of course, it's not that you cannot go against the government of India's stance, but majority of the times, it's better to follow whatever the government's decision. So we have to expect India, we can expect India-China question. That is a common theme. So get ready for that. Next is India and UNSC. So India was the chair of United Nations Security Council. So since India was the chair of United Nations Security Council for 2 years, and India was also chair for, especially, it's like India was, when India was there in Security Council, we were chairing the Terrorism Committee. So recently, Mr. Trimurti, who was our a permanent representative in United Nations, who's our diplomat, when he was talking about India chairing the Terrorism Sanctions Committee. So India was chairing Taliban Sanctions Committee. So we have to study about what are all the achievements of India when we chaired in United Nations Security Council. So when you are preparing for India and UNSC question, you prepare in all these dimensions. Like, what was the objective of India? So what was our objective when we entered United Nations Security Council? Like India released a brochure. So if you just Google it, you can find a brochure with the peacock logo. We had this logo of peacock, and we had this brochure for UNSC. So since we were contesting for the non-permanent member seat, we released the brochure. So it is just some 5 to 6 pages only. You download that brochure, just go through it. So they would have mentioned what is going to be the objective of India for the 2 years of UNSC membership. Next, if you next one, the next thing which you have to study is what are all the outcomes, what we were able to do. So what we did for Taliban with respect to terrorism, what were the important decisions taken by us. So this is the next thing which you have to study. So study what was the objective of India, and next study whether we achieved that objective. Of course, we didn't achieve a lot of objectives because UNSC reform was our most forefront objective, which we couldn't do. But we achieved a lot of things with respect to Taliban sanctions, and we made sure that the sanctions are happening there. So those kind of things we have to prepare. So prepare in both these dimensions with respect to India and UNSC. So this is a very important theme. And next important theme can be is West Asian politics. Of course, if the Israel-Palestine issue has not, if it was not resurfaced back, if Hamas didn't attack the Israel, then surely West Asian politics question would have been based on Saudi-Iran deal. So Saudi and Iran are having their own Cold War for the past 50 years from the 1970s. So this West Asian politics is a common theme with respect to personality tests. So Saudi-Iran deal and what is the significance of it and how it is going to change the geopolitics of West Asia. So this can be a common theme. Now, of course, Israel-Palestine conflict took the forefront. We have to prepare for both because it's one of its kind event which happened where Saudi and Iran, who had the 50 years long Cold War based on religion and based on geopolitics, they came to a conclusion with respect to some sort of peace. Of course, it's not the end. They have just begun to negotiate. It's not the end, but still, it's a very significant thing. The next important thing with respect to this Saudi-Iran thing was that it was negotiated by China. So since China came and negotiated the deal, that is giving a new dimension to this West Asian politics. So in recent times, the West Asian politics, apart from seeing the Shia Muslim, Sunni Muslim dimension, and seeing the oil supply dimension. So one side will be seeing Shia Sunni dimension. The next side we'll be seeing the oil exports dimension and its problem with respect to energy. So another dimension which you have to see is China. So China is having inroads in the West Asia, and they are increasing their relationship in West Asia. So we have to be prepared with respect to Chinese dimension also. So with respect to our Chabahar port also, when India was to develop the Chabahar port in Iran, and the railway link project, since India couldn't make sure the deadlines, it went to China. So China is having inroads in every area. Now, of late, recently we saw that China is having the back channel talks with Israel with respect to the recent outbreak. So all these things is bringing a new player called China in the West Asia, and USA is worried about that. So that dimension we have to prepare with respect to West Asia. So in West Asia, we have to also see the China thing. So India is also countering their Belt and Road initiative by bringing in 3 initiatives. Like we brought International North-South Transport Corridor with Russia. Then we signed Ashgabat Agreement to increase the connectivity with respect to Central Asian countries. Under Ashgabat Agreement also, the Chabahar port and the Afghanistan railway road link playing a major role. And then recently in G20 summit, we brought this India, Middle East and Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC. So 3 initiatives we have launched in order to counter or create a counterbalance for the Belt and Road initiative of China. So these kind of areas we have to prepare with respect to Saudi-Iran deal and West Asian politics. And since I said IMEC, now this Israel-Palestine conflict has created black shadows over the IMEC thing. So that is one thing. Next is we have to see in that dimension also. And Belt and Road Initiative, incidentally, it completed its 10th year anniversary. So Belt and Road Initiative had its 10th year anniversary recently. So we can expect questions from Belt and Road Initiative. Next is about Global South. Of late, in recent times, India is talking a lot about the Global South. India is going to be the voice of the Global South, and India is telling that they are going to be the voice. And incidentally, we also brought in African Union as a part of G20. India is the voice of Global South for ever since non-aligned movement. That's not a new thing, but it got a reinvigorated energy after the G20 summit, after we brought African Union into the G20 and made it as the 21st member. So, of course, G20 might be called G21 anytime soon, but I don't think they'll change the name since G20 has been a normal thing. But if you see, they changed the name of G7. Earlier it was G8, then they renamed it to G7. Since they renamed G8 to G7, we can also expect that. But talking about Global South, the question might be, in which are the areas India is acting as the voice of Global South? So at one side, we are voicing out for the climate change with respect to climate justice and for the carbon budget. With respect to financing part of the climate change, where we are asking the developed countries to do their dues of $100 billion. So developed countries promise that, as in the Paris deal, that they will be giving us $100 billion every year. But I think so. They have given only some $75 billion, $77 billion. Still $100 billion is a distant dream. And that is another issue. Next, we are talking about WTO reforms. So international multilateral organizations reform is another area where India is voicing for Global South. And in WTO, we are talking about the peace clause and food security issue. That is one dimension. And next dimension is in any international negotiation, whichever is happening, India is always standing for the opinion of Global South. So studying about Global South and India's role there. So what is the challenges for India here? So India is not financially strong to counter China with respect to influencing the Global South. So that is being a very big thing which is being there. So we have to prepare what is the potential for India being a voice of Global South, and what are the challenges for India. Next is India's decision in voting. So recent times our voting has been questioned. So starting from Myanmar. So when there was a coup in Myanmar, India abstained from voting. When the military coup, we didn't condemn the military coup. Of course, we said the democratic process should come back in Myanmar, but we didn't vehemently, openly condemn for obvious reason. For our own national interest, we did that. So with respect to Myanmar coup, we abstained from voting. With respect to Russia-Ukraine war, we abstained from voting. With respect to now, recently, Israel-Palestine-Hamas conflict, we abstained from voting. So why India is abstaining from voting? Why India is not taking a strong decision like it used to take during the non-aligned movement time? So this can be a potential question. So India's decision with respect to voting in certain way can be a potential area of question. And of course, the final thing is going to be the refugee policy. Refugee policy is under a very big debate and discussion throughout the world. In Europe, because xenophobia is rising throughout the world. In Europe, we are having this refugee thing where UK is planning to shift the asylum seekers to Rwanda. So, and European Union is having this refugee issue. We had Donald Trump who was proposing that he's going to construct a wall in the Mexico border. And of course, now there is a possibility for Donald Trump to come back in next year's US elections. So, and this refugee policy with respect to India, we had with respect to Rohingya issue. Recently, we decided to not to accept the Rohingya refugees, and it is also emerged when the pro-democratic supporters of Myanmar they entered. So from Myanmar, we had two kinds of refugees who are entering into India. One was with respect to Rohingyas. Another thing was pro-democratic support. After the military coup, those people who supported the Myanmar's democratic government under Aung San Suu Kyi and a few ethnic militant groups. So their supporters, they were persecuted. So since these pro-democratic supporters, they also migrated inside Manipur and Mizoram, and that has created, that is also one of the reasons for the very big flare-up which happened in Manipur. So Manipur issue is not only a local localized Manipur-based issue. It is also a foreign policy issue because one of the reasons for the Manipur violence was the migrations which happened from Myanmar after the military coup. So that is one dimension for Manipur issue also. So we had two refugee crises in India. One is Rohingya, another is pro-democratic supporters of Myanmar. And historically, we are having this refugee issue with respect to Sri Lankan Elam Tamils who settled in Tamil Nadu. And this is one thing. So these are all the things. And of late, in latest times, we are seeing refugee with respect to climate refugees. With respect to climate change, there is this possibility of emergence of this trend called climate refugees. So those kind of questions also can be possible with respect to refugees. So this is one dimension. And with respect to India, within India, we are seeing this refugee or xenophobia to migrant workers and local reservation law of Haryana and migrant workers from Bihar or UP or Chhattisgarh or Madhya Pradesh or Jharkhand or Odisha. They are moving to other states like Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, or Maharashtra, Gujarat, or Tamil Nadu, or Andhra, or Karnataka. So this internal migration is a very big question which is happening within India. How to have a policy with respect to migrant workers. So that is a very big thing. And this local Haryana reservation law, which was called null and void by the Punjab Haryana High Court, that can be an issue. And the classic another issue with respect to internal migration is about Kashmiri Pandits. So remigration of resettlement of Kashmiri Pandits back into Kashmir Valley. So that is a potential area with respect to internal. But with respect to IR, refugee policy is going to be a standard one. So these are all the 10 questions which I brainstormed. So apart from these 10 areas, are there any other area which you can suggest? So I can see more than 17 people attending. So these seven among you, can you suggest anything? We'll just brainstorm now.
Sir,
Apart from these 10 questions. Sir, I'm not, just a second. Yeah, now you can tell me.
Sir, Qatar issue.
Yeah, Qatar issue.
Death penalty.
Yeah, death penalty. That is the latest thing which has started. It's a very important thing. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See, so this list I made a few weeks back. Now we are having a biggest issue called Qatar issue, which has come in the last 3 weeks, and our Jawans who are considered to be a reputed and respectable soldiers, they were given death penalty. And recent times there is a reconsideration review also, and that is a very important thing which we have to follow up. And we can compare that with the Kulbhushan Jadhav incident which we faced with respect to Pakistan. So the questions will not only stop with respect to Qatar, what India can do with Qatar, and what is the link between this Qatar judgment and Israel-Palestine issue, and what is the... So question will not stop only there. They will ask the follow-up question by comparing it with the Kulbhushan Jadhav incident of Pakistan and the Abhinandan issue during the Balakot attacks. So they can also link it to that. So these kind of follow-up questions we have to expect here. So Qatar is a very important thing that we have to note it down. Next, any other suggestions?
Sir, defense indigenization or the military exercises which India conducts, I believe like since the Prime Minister recently drove in the Tejas LCA. So that might be a question.
Yeah, yesterday Prime Minister went inside Tejas. So that's a very big signaling with respect to defense indigenization because Prime Minister took a trip in India-made thing. Yeah, that is a very important thing. Next, water.
Sir, Afghan embassy in India says it is closing permanently. That could be asked.
Yeah, why Afghan embassy is closing? Yeah, that's totally because of the lack of fundings coming from the new Taliban government. Yeah, Afghan is a very classic issue because of late, if you take the World Cup, Afghanistan team is emerging as a very big, from underdogs, they are becoming as a mainstream cricket team also. So, and we are also having this Taliban crisis for the last 2 years. So, sure, Afghan is a potential thing. Then?
So India's role in the Indo-Pacific, like as a security provider as well as in other respects, HADR respect also.
Yeah, Indo-Pacific and Quad is what is the role of Quad and Indo-Pacific and RCEP and all these things is a classic area. Yeah. So I have given this 10. It is my top 10. So apart from this 10, still there are many other areas. That's what we are brainstorming. So we have to prepare all these areas, but prioritize. So Indo-Pacific is a classic thing. Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean. So when we are preparing India-China, so two dimensions to India-China issue is one is Indian Ocean region and other is Indo-Pacific. So in both Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean, we are talking about this. So we have to link it with China also. What is the role of China there? Then
So the environmental like aspect of all the multilateral forums.
environmental aspect, like UNFCC you're talking about, like COP28. Yeah,
Firstly, the organizations, and secondly, like G20 is also having offshoots with respect to taking care of the environmental impact and everything.
Yeah, we had life and coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. So yeah, that is a potential
The
area.
question over here is that every year we have the COP. So how important is the COP for every new year, and like what and in what process should we follow it for interview?
Okay. So the COP has become a talk show of late. If you see, Paris was a significant agreement. After Kyoto, Paris is considered to be one significant milestone. But ever since the Paris Agreement, all the other COPs have ended up as just a talk show. That is what we are seeing. Every year they are just negotiating and adding a few points. So what we can see. So this can also be a potential question, I think. So whether the COPs are relevant, are we on track with respect to climate change? Are we on track with respect to curbing emissions? So this can be a potential question because COP is happening in December. So if this is the area, first of all, we have to be optimistic if the questions are coming. So we have to be optimistic that we should not be pessimistic saying that no, COP is not going to work. We should not be pessimistic here. No, we will not be curbing the CO2 emissions. No world will be facing disasters, and climate change is going to end the world. So we should not be negative there. We should keep our hopes in COP, and we should answer in such a way that yes, COP is playing the role. They have brought in a lot of initiatives, but still, the developed countries' role should be increased with respect to the funding. So in this dimension, we have to take it to the optimistic notes. Now, coming to the second part of the question, how to prepare for these areas, what I would suggest is, see, any COP, they are going to talk about three things. That is adaptation, mitigation, and finance. So these are all the three important things which they are talking. Last year, they added a fourth important component called loss and damage. So these are all the four things which are going to be common for any COP. They'll be talking what they are going to do with respect to mitigation. With respect to mitigation, they are talking about net zero. So net zero, when we'll achieve the net zero, in which year. And recently there were two reports, one from OECD and other from IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, Assessment Report 6. So this IPCC 6 report, you just read the facts from IPCC 6 report, like are we in the track, how much emissions we have to curb and those kind of things, and have a look at the OECD report. And we had this text context article in Hindu talking about the importance of the OECD report. You just go through that article. So first you study what steps they are taking for mitigation, what steps they are taking for adaptation, and what is the funding mechanism. So for the funding, developed countries are promising that they will be giving 100 billion. Now, in the recent G20 summit, we found that we need at least $5.9 trillion to achieve net zero by 2030. And in order to triple the renewable energy, we need $4 more trillion. So we are talking about trillions here. 4 trillion or $5.9 trillion are required. But developed countries have promised a random 100 billion number, which is a contentious issue. So this is not sufficient at all. So we have to boost funding. That is one thing. And apart to top all these three issues, see, these three issues have itself as not yet solved. Now we are having a fourth thing called loss and damage. So loss and damage is totally different from other three. So we have to focus on loss and damage also. And there is a history for loss and damage. Like for example, adaptation and mitigation, it talks about how to tackle climate change. So how to mitigate the CO2 emissions, and how to adapt to climate change if climate change is happening, and what are all the funding mechanisms. So loss and damage is the fourth dimension which they added in the last year's summit in Egypt. So what is this loss and damage is, many countries are already affected. So they should be getting their compensation. Many countries already got affected for their loss and damage, and they should be given the due compensation. So that is loss and damage, and they have promised another $200 billion for loss and damage fund. So I think so in this COP we'll be expecting a special fund and special rules and regulation for loss and damage. So two important things are expected to be done in this year's COP. One is the stock take. The stock take after the Paris summit, which is due for this year. And the next is negotiation with respect to loss and damage. That is what is going to happen. So study these four dimensions, what they spoke on Egypt and what happened in Dubai. So what they spoke on Egypt, what happened in Dubai, and how it is linked to Paris. So these are all the three dimensions where we have to prepare so that we are able to answer. And our questions, but the questions will not be on the specific data. Questions are going to be whether we can achieve the target, whether we can tackle climate change, whether we can sail through this climate change crisis. So be optimistic, and our answer should be optimist, and our answer should say that yes, we are going to achieve. So this is one issue. Yes, as Subhashini said, it's a very important thing. What else? These are all the 15 topics. Apart from 15 topics, any other topics which you want to suggest which can be coming?
Sir, the King of Bhutan visited India in November.
Yeah.
So Bhutan relations, I think, or the China and
Bhutan
relations.
Bhutan recently they had a peace treaty. They are negotiating a peace treaty with China. That is a very important thing. So
yes, sir.
That is a very important dimension. Yeah, the only neighbor, only country in our neighborhood who was loyal to India for the last 75 years was Bhutan. So surely when there is a change in dimensions of Bhutan, there will be a potential question. Yes, we have to prepare Bhutan. Yes. Then?
So the impact of the changing regimes in the different countries. For instance, we have Maldives and we have elections coming up in Bangladesh also.
Yeah. Changing regimes is a very important thing.
Victory
so changing
of
regime
parties.
Yeah. What? Come back.
Victory of right-wing parties. Example in Latin America.
Yeah. So this right shift is happening throughout the world. Entire world is facing the right shift with respect to the politics. That's cycle. This left shift and right shift is a cycle. Earlier we had left shift in the earlier 20th century. It was totally left shift. In the mid 19th century, mid 20th century, till the globalization era, we had central shift, and after globalization, it was totally central parties. And in the post-globalization era, now we are seeing the right shift. So this shifting is happening throughout the world, and it's a cycle that will happen. So with respect to changing regime, I would like to come back to that. What we have to see is impact of this shift with respect to global politics and impact on India. These are all the two things which you have to see. So with respect to neighbors, if you see, always in our neighbors, take it Maldives or take it Sri Lanka, take it Bangladesh. So in all these three countries, there is this dichotomy of pro-India and pro-China. So there is one party which is pro-India. Like for example, in Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina's Awami League is pro-India, but the opposition party will be pro-China, which is the National Democratic Party of Bangladesh by Khatija. So that is pro-China or pro-Pakistan. If you take Maldives, Ibrahim Soli government was pro-India, and now the current government is Moinuddin government is pro-China a bit. So that is a continuity of Abdullah Yamin's regime. So always there is this dichotomy of pro-India, pro-China. If you take Sri Lanka, we are having Rajapaksa, who's a bit pro-China, and we are having Ranil Wickremesinghe, who's a bit pro-India. So this dichotomy is there with respect to Sri Lanka. So every time, whenever the pro-India party is coming, the foreign policy, it's aligning with India. When pro-China party is coming, the relationship will take a toll. We have to study with respect to this dimension for sure, how it is going to affect our India-Maldives or India-Sri Lanka or India-Bangladesh relations. In that dimension, we have to prepare here. With respect to changing regimes in the global level, with respect to right shift, that is a very tricky area, because your answer might sound political with respect to Indian dimension also. If you are telling that, if you are telling anything there with respect to such questions, surely the follow-up question is, what about India? So if what about India question is coming, that will be a potential trap. So we have to be very cautious with respect to questions when they are asking what about this global right shift. So that's why I said that answer. You make it generic. So if you are making it generic, it's a cycle, sir. Entire world is going through this cycle. History repeats itself. Now it is a right shift. Soon it will be shifting towards the center, and soon it will be shifting toward the left in the next century. That's how the world functions. So, what is the main reason for the right shift? If you take an analyze, the main reason is globalization. So we had this globalization in from 1980s. From 1980s, globalization was peaking. 1990s, it peaked in the entire world, and in India, we had LPG reforms. So this 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, we had this globalization era. In this globalization era, we were promised that free trade, free agreement, and open borders are going to bring in a lot of prosperity. But whatever promise were given, it didn't happen. So we didn't find any economic prosperity because of this globalization era. So this discontention with respect to globalized world has led to the rise of the right-wing parties throughout the world. So this is make it generic as much as generic as possible. So that is how we are going to tackle. So roughly we brought in some 17 issues. So now in the next part of the session, now I'll stop here. So this is how we have to brainstorm. See, Qatar issue happened 3 weeks back. Then with respect to Prime Minister's Tejas happened yesterday. So COP is going to happen in December. And Bhutan, we will know what is with respect to Bhutan in December or January. So all these things are happening, and you will see a lot of issues which is going to happen in December, January, and February, from where you can expect a question. So whenever you are facing the issue, always be ready for the counter question or the supplementary question. With respect to personality test preparation, the most important thing is what word we are using while answering and what supplementary question will come. So always be ready for the supplementary question. If you are brainstorming all the dimension for supplementary question, and then if you are going to an interview, that will give you a lot of confidence. Now, with respect to Israel-Palestine conflict, so these are all the basic facts. So what is the name of the operation which was launched by Israel? Now I'll just take you through two important issues. I'll take you Israel-Palestine issue, and I'll take you through the India-Canada issue, and I'll show you how questions will come and what are all the dimensions questions will come and how to prepare for it. If we are understanding with these two issues how questions will come, then with that thing we'll be ready to prepare all the other topics also. So I hope all the aspirants who are attending are noting down these topics. Okay, so let's take Israel-Palestine issue. So Operation Tufan, Alaska, or colloquially it is called Alaska Flood, is the operation which is of the Hamas. So Hamas called this operation, and Operation Iron Sword is the retaliation of Israel. So we would have studied a lot of things, but we would have left the basics. So the question will be, what is the name of the operation launch? So this will be the question. And Operation Ajay was the operation launched by India in order to rescue the Indians. So we had Operation Ajay, Operation Sankat Motion, Operation Rahat, Operation Vande Bharat, Operation Kaveri. So recently we also had this Operation Kaveri. So all these operations we did in the recent time. So Indian government's operation to rescue the Indians, that name is also very important because we will be preparing a lot with respect to the issue, but we'll miss out the simplistic thing from where we can easily score the brownie points. Okay. Of course, if you say you don't know, they will not minus your answer mark. So they are not going to give any minus points if you say I don't know. But what if you are able to say the answer, and if you are able to say it with full confidence, that will surely give a positive image of yourselves. So note down all these things, small things, and they will ask why Saturday was chosen. Because Saturday was a Sabbath day. Sabbath is considered to be the seventh day of a week where all the Jew people will take a break from their regular day-to-day works and they will worship God. So seventh day is the God's day. So that is what is there with respect to the Abrahamic religions. Muslims consider Friday as sacred, and the Jews consider Saturday, and Christians consider Sunday. So all the three Abrahamic religions are having a day, the seventh day, where they give it to God. So Sabbath day was chosen. So what is Sabbath? So these kind of questions will come. Like if you say Yom Kippur War. So this attack of Hamas was compared with the Yom Kippur War, which took place 50 years back in 1973. So in Yom Kippur War, what happened? Like how Hamas gave a surprise attack. Egypt and Jordan together, they gave a surprise attack in 1973, and in order to capture back the their territories which they lost. So that happened in 1973. So Yom Kippur attack also took place on an auspicious day. Yom Kippur is an auspicious day, day of atonement. Day of atonement means they will be asking the forgiving to the God. So asking for the forgiveness is a common thing in all the three Abrahamic religions. So on Yom Kippur day, Jews will ask for forgiveness to their gods. So on that day only the attack took place. Now again on the Sabbath day. So both the attacks took place on some auspicious day for Jews. So these kind of small questions will come. So note down these things also. And why Iron Dome failed? So this can be a potential question. What is Iron Dome? You will be studying. See, I'm not going to teach you what is Iron Dome, what is the history of Israel-Palestine. All those things you can easily get in the YouTube or internet, or Israel-Palestine conflict, UPSC. If you put in Google, you are going to get, and all the institutes are going to give you the materials. The thing here in this particular session, what I'm trying to convey is how to brainstorm, how to find the nuances with respect to IR preparation. So why Iron Dome failed? What led to the failure? Because Israel is claiming that they are having one of the world's best intelligence and they are having the world's best missile defense system. So both of things failed with respect to Hamas attack. So Hamas attack was, Israel was caught off guard, and the Iron Dome things also failed on that day. So one of the two most proud thing is failing, means surely there will be a question. What is Iron Dome? And what is the Mossad? Mossad is the name of the, they can ask what is Mossad. So Mossad is the intelligence agency of Israel. We are having MI5, which is the intelligence agency of Britain. We are having the CIA, which is the intelligence agency of USA. And there is this Five Eyes Intelligence Consortium. Five Eyes Intelligence Consortium is a joint intelligence consortium of USA, UK, Canada, Australia, so and Japan. So these 5 countries, they are having this joint intelligence where they are mobilizing the intelligence from all these 5 intelligence of all these 5 countries will be shared with all the other 5. So that thing came into news with respect to India-Canada relations, because this Five Eyes Intelligence Consortium it has been alleged by the Canadian Prime Minister that they got intelligence that Indian government is involved, the state support is involved with respect to the assassination of the Khalistani leader. So they will be asking the names. So in personality test, they will be asking such simple facts. What is the operation, Ajay? Stakeholders of Israel-Palestine conflict. So questions will be coming. How we can solve the Israel-Palestine issue, whether a solution is possible, whether two-state solution is relevant, whether a single-state solution is the solution, whether Palestine should be a subordinate sub-nationalistic territory under the larger Israel state, like what is happening now, or two-state solution is what we have to push for. So they can be asking, who are all the organizations, pro-Palestine organizations? Fateh is the historically the important organization founded by Yasser Arafat, and PLO, it changed into PLO, and under PLO they did the armed attacks. And after the Oslo Accords of 1993, this PLO, which was doing insurgency with the militarism, they gave up their arms and they became democratic after Oslo Accords of 1993. And they recognized Israel and they decided to settle for sub-nationalistic thing. But of course, they are still pursuing the two-state solution. But now they got local autonomy with respect to West Bank. Who is Hamas? Then PIJ, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, is another organization who is collaborating with Hamas. Whether Hamas is getting funded by Qatar or Iran. So these kind of questions are possible. So I mobilized a few questions with respect to Israel-Palestine issue. Why Hamas attacked? So Hamas clearly knows that they cannot outmaneuver or overpower Israel, because Israel is a giant with respect to military. But still, even knowing all these things, why Hamas attacked? What is the necessity? So there are many reasons. So why Hamas attacked is a potential question. Hamas attacked because recently Abraham Accords are coming. So Israel is having peace deal with Egypt and Jordan. Historically, they had peace deal with Israel and Jordan. Recently, with the Abraham Accords, they are having peace deal with Dubai, and that is UAE, and then with the Bahrain. And since the peace deals are coming, and Arabic countries, they want to have peace with Israel. Why Arabic countries want to sign Abraham Accords and want to have peace with Israel, if you see? because Israel is a tech giant. So Israel is having a lot of latest technology, and investments can come from Israel. Trade can happen with Israel. So all these Gulf countries, their entire economy was oil-oriented economy. Since these Gulf countries had the oil-oriented economy, their economy is now dependent on one particular product. And with the climate change, we are planning to move towards renewable energy. And in future, the role of oil is going to come down, means the entire Gulf economy will be affected. So all these Gulf countries want to diversify their economy. So they are finding options with respect to foreign investments. One local person who can be a potential investor is Israel, because Israel is a tech giant. So automatically, all the Gulf countries, they want to have peace deal with Israel. So now Saudi is trying to diversify their economy. So this is one thing. So if Abraham Accords are happening, then all the Arab countries, if they are having good deals, and recently Joe Biden also was in a verge of conducting a meeting between Saudi Arabia and Israel, who are considered to be two biggest enemies. So if that is happening, when all the Arab countries who are having the Palestinian cause as their forefront, if they are signing peace deal with Israel, then the Palestinian cause will be cornered. It will be sidelined. So in order to bring back Palestinian cause as the forefront diplomatic issue in West Asia, Hamas attack. So this can be one reason. Or extreme right-wing politics, which has emerged after the Benjamin Netanyahu's government, or the judicial reforms, which is having a huge right shift in Israel. So all these things in recent times, because of the extreme right shift of the Israeli government, most of the citizens there, they are getting radicalized and they are not having belief with the two-state solution. If Israel citizens are losing hope in two-state solution, then two-state solution will not be a possibility at all. So in order to bring back its relevance, Hamas attack. So these are all the theories. Whatever I'm telling is theories. Still, Hamas never claimed any conclusive. They didn't give any conclusive reason on why they attacked. What is the impact of Israel policy? So this is the first question. Why Hamas attack can be a potential question. See, now I gave an answer. I spoke for the last 10 minutes. You should not be speaking like this for the since in order to explain to you, I was speaking. Our personalities director, Mr. Vivek Harinarayan sir, he used to say one word, think and shrink. So whenever an interview question is coming, we have to think for a while and we have to give a shortest answer possible. We have to shrink that entire issue into 2 lines and give a shortest answer possible. So we have to give shortest answer possible. So always remember that think and shrink. To explain, I'm just giving the detailed thing. What is the impact of Israel-Palestine issue? So impact of Israel-Palestine issue on West Asian politics, on global politics, and with respect to India-Israel relations. So this is one thing. So this recent attack might dilute the cause of Palestinian Authority and increase the stalemate further, because since Hamas has attacked back, this has radicalized the Israeli citizens further against the two-state solution. Because it was one of the worst ever catastrophic terror attacks. So incidentally, today we are on 26/11, which is also a Constitution Day and also a day with respect to 26/11 attack, which we faced in Bombay. So one of the horrific terrorist attack ever in the Indian history. So such kind of, so whatever Hamas did on October 7 is more horrific than what we faced on 26/11. It is 10 times larger than what we faced on 26/11. So if that is the case, surely the Israeli populations are going to lose hope with respect to two-state solution. So Hamas gained nothing from this attack, apart from bringing Palestinian issue into the forefront. What is its impact in the West Asian politics? Because now all the countries which signed Abraham Accord wanted to have good relations with Israel. Now they are in a situation to condemn Israel, and it has weakened the Abraham Accords. So this is the thing. What is the global position, impact on global position? What is the stance of USA? What is the stance of West? And what is the stance of China? What is the stance of India? We have to be aware about what is their stance with respect to Israel-Palestine issue. So that can be a potential area of question. With respect to India, we have to be very clear. India is a constant supporter of two-state solution. Recently, Prime Minister reiterated everything. India is a supporter of two-state solution. We support two-state solution. And Prime Minister also recently said that this issue should be solved through peace and negotiation. So Prime Minister was very clear, and our External Affairs Minister was very clear. We condemn terrorism, we condemn Hamas, but at the same time, still we support two-state solution. So We are condemning Hamas, but we are also sending humanitarian relief for the Gaza. So we sent a batch of humanitarian relief with food and medicine to Gaza. And Prime Minister strongly insisted on peace. And he said that civilians attacks should be avoided. So India's stance is that we condemn terrorism. We insist on peace. We insist on two-state solution. But we won't vote against Israel when there is a voting is coming. So why India didn't vote against Israel? Because of late, geopolitics is interconnected. If you see, when the Cold War era was happening, we didn't have globalization. During the non-aligned moment time, India took a strong decisions. India took stances. But now we are not taking any strong stances. We are abstaining from voting. So why this is happening? So in non-aligned moment time, the world was not interconnected. We were not globalized. So most of the economies are not linked. So if India is taking a stance, it is not going to affect a lot. And at the same time, sir, at that point of time, we were also pursuing national interest, but we were able to take some idealistic stance. But 21st century, we are now in the third decade of 21st century. In the third decade of 21st century, the entire world is interconnected. There is no black or white, and everything is becoming gray. And most of the countries are linked with respect to trade, with respect to investments. So if all these things are there, so trade, investments, geopolitics, and soft power, everything is interlinked now. In this situation, we cannot be as strong as we used to be, because our national interest also requires some positive relations from Israel. So we cannot be condemning Israel. Our national interest within our national interest also has with respect to good relation with Israel, because Israel is the one who support giving us a lot of defense equipments. Israel is giving us agriculture-based technology. So all these things are there. So we cannot take an extreme stance at this point of time. And a Cold War is emerging now with West and Chinese-Russia alliance. So in this Cold War, India, instead of creating a third body like it used to be in the non-aligned movement, we are creating multi-alignment. That we will be aligning with USA, we will be aligning with West, we will be aligning with China, we will be aligning with Russia. We'll take whatever we want with respect to national interest. So in this third decade of 21st century, after the globalization, we cannot be, we have to focus more on the national interest, because that's how the international relations have become a zero-sum game. So that is the reason why India is not taking an extreme stance with respect to Myanmar, or with respect to Russia, or with respect to Israel. And you know all the other details, intricacies. With respect to Russia, we imported a lot of oil. We created rupee ruble mechanism. Historically, Russia is a P5 country, and Russia is the only country which voted in favor of India whenever the Kashmir question came into United Nations. Since historically, Russia is the only P5 countries which is having veto power. Imagine a situation where a resolution is being brought in UNSC, which P5 country that if that resolution is against India. Imagine a situation, they are bringing in a resolution in P5, in UNSC with respect to Kashmir, and that resolution is not in favor of India. So who's going to support us? Who's going to veto it for us? We cannot trust USA. We cannot trust China. The only person historically for the last 70 years who did this was Russia. So, and in future also there is a possibility to bring in any resolution like that. So we should have one P5 country who is a close friend of us. So if that is the case, US cannot be a reliable partner, and Russia has historically been a very good reliable partner. So we are not going belligerent with Russia. So this is the reason why India abstained from voting, and India abstained from condemning Russia. The same thing is happening with respect to Israel also. So that is the thing. And in 2017, we dehyphenated the ties. What is dehyphenation? So what is dehyphenation? That can also be a question. Dehyphenation means earlier we used to see this Israel-Palestine issue as with an hyphen. So Israel is always linked to Palestine. So we see that entire issue with respect to two-state solution. We see that we are totally supporting the Palestinian cause, and we are totally demanding two-state solution. Only if two-state solution is there, we'll have collaboration with Israel. Whenever the Israel-Palestine issue is coming into forefront, we always kept the Palestinian cause and took the decision. Now what we decided is we are supporting two-state solution, but that doesn't mean that we will not have good relationship with Israel. We will have good relationship with Israel in whatever capacity possible. At the same time, we are also not diluting our two-state cause. So we dehyphenated them. We separated Israel from Palestine. We are going to have independent relationship with Israel. We are going to have independent relationship with Palestine, and totally it is going to be different. So we will collaborate with Israel. At the same time, we'll send humanitarian aid to Palestine. So this is how our stance is now, totally based on national interest. So realism is picking up its course in the foreign policy. So India's stance on issue, we have to see. So next important question which they will be asking is whether the Israel's decision to attack back Gaza, enter into the Gaza and attack the civilians, is whether it is right or wrong. So Israel, the entire international community, most of the international community is criticizing Israel for attacking Gaza because a lot of civilian deaths are happening. And Israel, in the pretext of attacking Hamas, they are putting bombs in all the public areas and many civilians have died. So almost the count has gone to 12,000 today. So 12,000 civilians have lost their lives. So not all the 12,000 are Hamas terrorists. So this is a terrorist attack. So when a terrorist attack happened against India in 26/11 in 2008, and when we had Uri attacks or when we had Pulwama attack, we didn't we didn't do any such kind of responses. In 2008, instead of directly retaliating Pakistan back through military means, we did that through the diplomatic means. We internationalized the issue. We took the evidence that Pakistan is supporting terrorists. We internationalized the Pakistan's state-sponsored terrorism in all the international arena possible. We diplomatically isolated Pakistan after 26/11. So that diplomatic isolation of Pakistan post 26/11 has created an image that Pakistan is supporting terror, that made USA to change its stance against Pakistan and and that pushed Pakistan to condemn. And we took that issue to FATF to scrutiny it. So we totally did a diplomatic isolation of Pakistan and internationalized the Pakistan's state-sponsored terrorism. When Uri attack took place and when Pulwama attack took place, we sent our soldiers. After Uri, we sent our soldiers to POK. POK is officially our territory only. After Pulwama, we did the Balakot attack where Indian Air Force jet entered into the Pakistan airspace. So that is unprecedented. But we didn't do attack on civilians. We didn't touch the Pakistan army. So in both surgical strikes which happened in 2016 and during the 2019, in both the surgical strikes, we attacked only the terror camp. We went there, we attacked the terror camp, we attacked only the terrorists. We never attacked on civilians, we never attacked on Pakistani soldiers. Since we didn't attack on civilians or Pakistani soldiers, Pakistan is not having any ground to condemn India for the surgical strike. So automatically, we achieved whatever we wanted. But what now Israel is doing, they are attacking on civilians and they are attacking on innocent children and women. So that has created the negative image for Israel. So whether that is right or wrong, this will be the question. So what Israel is giving the counter, Israel is telling that Hamas is using the civilians as human shield. So Hamas terrorists, they are residing in the hospital. So recently there was a hospital attack. Israel said that Hamas is operating from hospitals because according to United Nations rules, we won't attack hospitals. So Hamas is using that as a tool for a human shield. So we are doing. So these kind of issues are happening. But when we are answering, we should not take sides here. When we are answering, we have to be very clear. What is very clear? We have to see the totality of the issue. The terrorist attack took the life of 1,400 Israeli citizens. But for the retaliation, Israel has taken 12,000 innocent civilians' life. So it has become a number game now because of the nationalism. Our opinion should be very clear. Israel is having all the rights for its self-defense. So Israel, when a terrorist attack is happening, whatever Israel did with respect to neutralizing the terrorists in their borders, that is good. When Israel is going and attacking Hamas, yes, that is good. That is fine. But Israel should make sure that they are attacking only Hamas. They are facing the guerrilla warfare without affecting the innocent civilians. So Israel's retaliation should have been to attack Hamas, to do surgical strikes like India did, rather than attacking the civilians, which is now happening there. So this is the stance which you have to take. We should not be saying that Israel is right. No, Israel is wrong. Israel is having the rights to defend. Israel is having the right to counter back the terrorists, but Israel is not having the rights to attack the civilians. So this is our stance. So our stance is not taking sides, but our stance is globally and politically correct. So these kind of stances we have to take. And that's what India has done now. Whatever government of India is doing, the same thing government of India has done. So what are all the international convention with Israel is basing? So these kind of questions we can expect. This is with respect to Israel-Palestine issue. Next, now I'll also explain briefly the India-Canada relations and what can be the expected questions. And then we'll have the interaction with the, then I'll have interaction with you all. Next, with respect to India-Canada, what happened? Canada is alleging that Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who is considered to be a Sikh human rights activist in Canada, but according to government of India, Hardeep Singh Nijjar is a declared terrorist. So Hardeep Singh Nijjar is part of the Khalistani movement who want to secede the Punjab region and create a separate Khalistan. So that is the government of India's stance. It is better to stand with the government of India's stance when we are going to the personality test. So don't go and counter such kind of instances. When the terrorism is the issue, it is always better to stand with whatever government of India is telling. So with respect to Khalistani issue, we should stand with government of India's stance because Khalistani issue is having a history of bloodbath in 1970s. In 1970s and after 1980s, we had a lot of bloodshed and bloodbath in Punjab, and it created a huge terrorism insurgency in the Punjab region. And we also gave our Prime Minister's life as the cost in 1984 for the Khalistani issue. So if that is the case, it is good to stand with the government of India's opinion, and people, especially coming from Punjab, they will be asked question to test and they will be provoked in this area. Like how people from Tamil Nadu, they are being asked the question with respect to Sri Lankan Elam issue. People coming from Punjab, they will be facing questions with respect to Khalistan issue. People coming from Bengal, they will be tested with respect to whatever happening in Bengal, with respect to Assam. So all these things are possible. So that is the allegations, and Prime Minister of Canada coming to Parliament and giving a statement that Indian government is involved is what the main trigger point. The trigger, all historically, for the last many years, India is being raising this issue of Canada being supportive of anti-Indian elements. So we are, in the name of freedom of expression, Canada is supporting the elements who are anti-Indian and who are designated terrorists in India. So Canada should take action. This is what we are raising to the Canada government. But Canadian Prime Minister openly, he gave a statement that Indian authorities are involved and they are having some evidence. What was our stance? Our stance was, show us the evidence. Government of India totally negated any involvement. We just asked, show us the credible evidence. If evidence is credible, then we'll act. So this was our stance. So this is the thing which happened. So study about the Five Eyes Alliance. So all the Five Eyes Alliance members also have said that there is some evidence, except for Australia. Australia didn't support it, but all the other members, like USA, they are also telling that they saw the evidence. So this is the issue. So what led to the escalation? Canada, they expelled Canada and India both. First, Canada expelled the Indian diplomat. In order to counter that, India expelled the Canadian diplomat. And this issue and India cancelled the visa services. We cancelled all the visa services. Of course, last week we again brought back the e-visa services with respect to business trips. Still, we have not started off the tourist visa. So visa services were suspended. And one important thing which came up in the entire issue was Vienna Convention. So according to Vienna Convention, India, according to Article 11 of Vienna Convention, there is this provision that any government can ask, any receiving state can ask the host state to say how many numbers. So India is having the rights to say how many Canadian diplomats can be in India. At the same time, according to Vienna Convention, India is also having rights that we are having rights to declare how many numbers can be in India. At the same time, we can also say if a particular diplomat is being appointed by Canada and Indian government is not happy with that individual, Indian government can ask that individual to go back, and India can ask Canada to send another individual. So both these things are allowed with respect to Vienna Convention. So the receiving state is having the rights to declare the number and with respect to the individual. So Canada criticized India's demand of alleged breach of Vienna Convention, while India said that according to Article 11, whatever we did was right. So India, what we demanded, we said that the number of Indian diplomats in Canada is less than number of Canadian diplomats in India. So Canadian diplomats in India, the numbers is higher than the number of diplomats we have in Canada. So according to Article 11, receiving states can try to equalize it. So that's what we have said. That is the thing. So why Canadian Prime Minister said so, and why Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, is not accepting the India's opinion? Because Canada is having an open immigration. So Canada's off late, their demography is becoming older, so they need immigration. So all the developed countries, they are facing this demographic issue of old age population, and they need immigrants who can be who can support this. So Canada is having open immigration. Since they are having open immigration policy, a lot of Indians and majoritarily Sikh population, Sikh community, they settled. So Sikh community settlement in Canada is happening since the British time, and that legacy continued even after the independence. So of all the diaspora present there, majority diaspora is Sikh community, and we are also having all the other religions also, but majority it is Sikh. So, and if you could take the number of Sikh MPs in our parliament is lesser than number of Sikh MPs in Canada. So Canada is having more Sikh member of parliaments than what our own Lok Sabha is having. So that is the number. So automatically Sikh people are forming a major vote bank in Canada. So if that is the case, automatically Canadian Prime Minister took a stance considering the local political dynamics in mind, and Canadian Prime Minister also supported the farmers' protests when we had that. So when Canadian Prime Minister supported farmer protest, we said that you should not interfere in our local politics. And when the domestic political coalitions, they are having a lot of Sikh support. Only with the Sikh support, this current regime of Canada is existing. So all these things led to the Canadian president. But if you could see, most of the international countries, they never condemned India. Only Canada has raised the issue, but other countries still they are watching, other West. So Canada is part of the West. Canada is very close to USA and UK and all the entire the Western system. Even though they are very close, even though a very big diplomatic fallout has taken place, most of the countries, they never condemned India because India is having a strong diaspora throughout the world. India is an inevitable partner with respect to economic consideration. We are the fifth largest economy with a huge investment potential, with a huge diaspora population. So we cannot be easily negated. So no country will try to be belligerent with India. So that is the thing. And all these Western countries are seeing India as a pivot to counter China. In future, if the Cold War 2.0 is going to emerge, all these countries, they are seeing India as a pivot. So if that is the case, they need India in order to counter China, because India is the only country which is sharing the land borders. So if that is the case, they will not automatically go against India. That's why India didn't receive condemnation from other countries except China, Canada. So study about Vienna Convention of diplomatic relation. You just type Vienna Convention UPSC or Vienna Convention, you will have Wikipedia page and you will have all the institutes having their current affairs in their website. You can just read through that. Okay. So just read through it and what is happening. So question will not be asked from the provisions of Vienna Convention. Question will be asked according to which convention according to which convention Canada is criticizing India. So what is the allegations of Canada that in which convention India didn't fall? So they'll ask, our answer should be Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations. See, there are a lot of Vienna Convention. Vienna Convention for diplomatic relation, Vienna Convention for international peace. There is a lot of diplomatic convention regarding in which took place in Vienna. So this Vienna Convention will be repeating in many things. So this is the Vienna Convention on diplomatic relation 1961, which gives the protection and which gives the diplomatic immunity to the diplomats who are staying in the other countries. So this Vienna Convention came into a picture when Abhinandan was caught after the Balakot attacks. So off late it is being in news. So we have to study this. I'm not explaining Vienna Convention in detail. And have a list of organizations. So there can be a potential thing. What are all the Khalistani organizations which have been prohibited? So these are all the Babar Khalsa or Khalistani Commando Force, Khalistani Zindabad Force, Khalistani Youth Federation, and this Nijar who was assassinated recently, that person belongs to Khalistani Tiger Force. So study about all the organization which is banned by India under UPA. Under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, we have banned all these organizations. So this can be a potential question. So from India, Canada, what are all the questions can be possible? So first of all, now we'll come to this area. So first of all, they will be asking question regarding what is the impact of bilateral relations. So what is the importance of Canada in bilateral relation? With respect to Canada, if you see, bilaterally, Canada is playing a major role. Canada is having one of the largest Indian diaspora population. Bilateral trade is almost our bilateral trade is approximately $9 to $10 billion. Last year it was 6.5 billion. Now it has become 10 billion. So bilateral trade is increasing. We are having space collaboration, civil nuclear collaboration, and natural gas imports we are doing. So if you could take India is doing having civil nuclear collaboration with Canada, and we are importing uranium. So India got exemptions in nuclear supplies group in 2008. So after that, we are importing uranium from Canada. So Canada is one of the countries who is exporting uranium apart from Kazakhstan and Australia. So Kazakhstan, Australia, Canada are the three important uranium importers. So that is important. So what is the importance of Canada with respect to bilaterally that we have to study? The next thing is the questions will directly go to Khalistani movement. So I request you all to know the brief history of Khalistani movement. Khalistani movement is having a huge bloodshed in 1970s and 1980s. They did a lot of flight hijacks. In fact, many flights were hijacked. We would have, of late, you would have seen a lot of movies with Akshay Kumar, of course, in the lead about these hijacks. And there was this important Air India attack in 1985. In 1985, these Khalistani people in Canada, they attacked the Air India flight from which came from Canada to India. So that was the biggest terror attack within Canada itself. So study about the history of Khalistani movement and what happened in India. Who is this Bindrawale? Why the Operation Blue Star took place? Why Indian Army went into the holiest shrine of Sikh community in Amritsar and conducted the military operation? What pushed the government of India to do the military operation? Why all those things took place? So have this brief idea about the history, because questions can pop up from that area also. So know about the Khalistani past and how it is resurfacing. Now recently we are having this organization called Waris J Punjab, who is voicing out for the Khalistani issue. Still, that is not a restricted or prohibited banned organization, but Waris J Punjab is a big pressure group which is recently it has emerged in Punjab. So all these things we have to study. What is the link of Waris J Punjab with respect to farmer protests? And there are many dimensions to it and layers to it, which we have to study. Okay. So always with respect to interview preparation, you take an issue, brainstorm questions. First, you have to brainstorm the list of questions. Then we have to prepare the answers. The third step is to prepare the counter questions and prepare answers for the counter question. So brainstorm, first study the issue, any issue with respect to IR or any issue with respect to personality test, study the issue, understand the issue, and then brainstorm questions, prepare answers. You should not prepare answer mentally or write down or just read it and leave it. Whenever we are preparing for personality test, we have to orally prepare it. We have to go to mirror and we have to do the mirror answering. So do the mirror answering. While you are doing mirror answering itself, you will be getting a lot of supplementary question. Go and talk with your friends. Ask your friends to ask question and do the answering to your friends. While this discussion, you will be finding a lot of supplementary questions. Prepare answers for all the supplementary questions. And don't forget to study the small, minute details, like what is the name of the operation, what is the year in which it took place, what is the name of the intelligence agency. So these are all the small things where you can easily score a brownie point in the interview if the questions are coming. So this is how we have to prepare an IR question. So just go to YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you just go to Vox. In Vox, they are having a beautiful video explaining the 100 years of Israel-Palestine conflict. Of course, for Tamil Nadu audience, I have made a video bilingually in English Tamil where I explained the 100 years of history. But for the rest of the India who wants to know in English, you can see the video in Vox. Or if you want in Hindi, there will be a lot of videos which is there. So see a video, know the brief history. For the Khalistani movement also, see a video and know the history. Or possibly study, there is a Wikipedia page called Insurgency in Punjab. There is a separate Wikipedia page for that, Insurgency in Punjab. So study that entire Wikipedia page, you will get to know the idea about whatever insurgency happened in Punjab and the Khalistani link, and get ready. So like this, understand the issue, prepare questions, answer it, and make supplementary question and answer it. So this is how we have to prepare, and don't just keep on studying. So for prelims and mains, we'll be studying. For mains, what we will do, additionally, we have to do the answer writing practice. Likewise, for the personality test, we have to do the oral practice. Oral practice is essential. Okay. So these are all the things which I wanted to convey. Now I'll open up the session for all the participants. Now you will be, you can ask me any questions. So now Aditya has the question in chat, and anyone, if you want to talk, you can also talk. First, I'll answer the Aditya's question. Query regarding the transcripts, sir. Person to person questions varies, like DAFs varies. So person with similar DAF like hobby, education, optional would be efficient, right? Instead of reading everyone's transcript. Yes. This is a very important question raised by Aditya. Aditya is asking that whether we have to study all the transcripts, or we have to study only those transcripts which is relevant to us. Of course, yeah, we cannot practically study all the transcripts. Whenever we are trading, so I found this PDF in the in our India Boys Telegram channel. There, our sir has posted a PDF with more than hundreds of transcripts. It is having 1,000 pages. It's a 1,000-page PDF. In that 1,000-page PDF, you just search PSIR, or search international, or search China. And there are a lot of Telegram channel, interview transcripts Telegram channels. If you just search interview transcripts in Telegram, many Telegram channels will come. Interview transcript 2022 is a channel where you can search that. You just enter international there. Questions regarding international relations will come. So from there you can prepare. That is the first priority. Prioritize your own optional, your own subject, and your own keywords. In Telegram channels, you can search with the keywords, because if you search whatever hobbies you have mentioned, if you put that and search, those transcripts related to your hobby will come. Because whenever they are putting transcripts, they will mention the optional name, they will mention the hobbies, they will mention the place of city where they were born, and then only they will put the transcript, so that it is easily searchable in Telegram. So you can search with the keywords. That is a priority. After finishing up your priority transcripts, then you can open up and study. Because what I say is, if you study, even though the transcripts are not related to you, if you study that, you will get to know a lot of dimension on how the counter questions are coming. So one important part of the personality test preparation is orally getting ready. That is first. But secondarily, the most important thing is to brainstorm the counter question. The ability to brainstorm the counter question will come when you are reading more transcripts. So that is my opinion. Is there anyone else who wants to ask any questions? You can switch on your mic and ask.
So this is regarding the depth of questions that can be asked from candidates who do not have a PSIR as optional or any associated subject. So,
Okay.
like in any certain issue, how much depth are we expected to go into, and how much are they expecting us to answer?
If you are a PSIR person, you should know in depth. That is no doubt. But if all the other people who are they are not of PSIR optional, what I advise it, whatever you do with respect to GS, so that level of preparation is enough. So you would have studied mains, you would have studied IR, you would have studied some 365 material when you are preparing for your own mains. So whatever, when you are preparing for international relations in mains, what is the depth we are using to study? That depth is enough. Don't need to go into key terminologies or international relations theories or foreign policy theories, diplomatic theories. No need to go into depth of the subject. Just study at the levels of paper 2 international level relations. So we will be reading current affairs material. Surely all the people who are attending the session would have read the current affairs materials for IR when you are preparing for your mains. So whatever given there, that is the depth, that is enough. Okay. Don't go too much. Any other question? Aditya and Subhashini are the two people who asked me questions. And apart from that, we had many others also in the chat asking, but many others didn't ask anything. Does reading newspaper is enough for opinion building? Should I read magazines? See, what I would suggest is, from today till your interview date, try to read Hindu and Express editorials. Express and Hindu editorials are more than enough. Don't go too much into reading. What I think is, we cannot go too much into reading magazines. Like there are many reputed magazines which are being suggested. Yes, we are having many magazines, but what I suggest is, Hindu editorials and Express editorials are more than enough. You know, because that is itself is voluminous. Practically speaking, to read all the Express explained articles and to read the Express editorials and to read the Indo editorials, that will itself take your time. So we cannot go into all the magazines like Frontline or Down to Earth or like this. Dinesh, are you asking about Institute Current Affairs Monthly magazine?
No, sir.
You are
General
asking
magazines
general.
like
Okay.
India Today.
Okay. What personally, see, this is my personal opinion. What I personally feel is it will be too much because we cannot be. We are having a limited time. In that time, we have to focus on DAF. We have to focus on DAF related question. We have to orally practice. Orally practicing in mirror and with friends is the most crucial part of the preparation. We have to orally practice. In that time, we cannot be. Will not be able to read all those magazines. If time permits, you can read. You can go ahead and read. But I would ask you to first read Express Explained and Express Opinions and Hindu Opinions, then go for it. So this will be my priority order. Is there any
Okay,
videos
sir.
you are open to read see any videos for explainers? There are many YouTube channels, both UPSC and non-UPSC based channels. They are explaining the issues beautifully. In order to get the basic understanding, instead of reading the entire Wikipedia page, it's better to see a video. Always it's time saving and it's better. So I would suggest you can see a video and save your time. If you want to know anything specific with respect to facts, then you can come and check the websites. Sir, can you share the link of the transcript PDF that you mentioned? Yeah, I can share. It is there in our India Boys Telegram channel. Go to India Boys Sir's Telegram channel and go to search column and you can just search there. Yes, Sanyam has shared the Telegram channel with the transcript. That is a good channel. The PDF which I mentioned is there. Interview transcript. You just go and search for interview transcript in the media of India Boy channel and you will find the PDF. Or I'll also share it through chat if possible. Wait, I'll check if I can attach it. So yeah, I am uploading this PDF in our Zoom meeting chat itself. You can download from the Zoom meeting itself. It is being uploaded. Yeah, now it's done. Now you check your. Oh, I sent it only to Dinesh Kant. Okay, I'll send it to everyone in the meeting. I'm sorry. I sent it only to the individual person. Is there any other questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Mufid.
Yes, okay. Sir, it has been a nice session. I wanted to ask, sir, like I have
Thank you.
written mains earlier also, but I have changed to optional PSIR this time only.
Okay.
So is there any specific area that I need to focus on?
What was your earlier optional?
Sir, electrical engineering.
Okay. Okay. So obviously they will be asking this question that why you change the optional is the one potential question which they'll ask. Why you change the optional? That will be the question. Be ready for that. With respect to PSIR, if this is your first attempt, I would suggest you to go and interact with the seniors in the PSIR optionals and those who went to interview the PSIR optionals. They will be telling you where to see and what to see. See, I belong to geography optional, so I cannot comment on the depths of the PSIR optional. But for those who have taken seniors of the PSIR optionals or the friends in the PSIR optional, you discuss with them. They will be suggesting what to see and which areas to see, which topics to see. Apart from that, whatever I said in this session, see, we brainstormed. I gave you 10 topics. Then we brainstormed another 8 topics. You prioritize these topics and study these topics. This is the first thing. The next thing what you can do is you can see the PT materials with respect to international relations. There they will be putting all the IR related issue which came in the last 1 year, and that will be giving you all the topics and content to study. I think so that will be suffice. The only additional thing as a PSIR optional student you have to do is you have to add the optional dimension to the questions. Like maybe in the optional you will be studying IR related theories, some international relation theory, like we are having this heartland and rimland theory or Spickman's geopolitical theory. So these kind of theory will be studying with respect to geopolitics. So these kind of theories you can top it up when you are studying. That's it. What about the overall session? How you all felt about the session? Was it beneficial to all?
Yes, sir. Obviously, it was very beneficial. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Sanyam, you are from which state?
Sir, I'm from Uttar Pradesh.
Oh, great. What else? Are we having anyone from any other states? Is there anyone from Punjab? Chaitanya, where are you from?
Yes, sir. I am from MP, Mufid.
Okay, Mufid is from Madhya Pradesh. Okay, the election season is going on. What about Mufid is from MP? What about Subhashini? Subhashini, where are you from? Okay, Subhanshi,
Sir,
sorry.
I'm from Uttar
Subhanshi.
Pradesh.
Okay,
Yes,
I
sir.
mispronounced
Sir,
your
I'm from
name as Subhashini. Yeah, okay. We are having two from Uttar Pradesh. So, obviously, Uttar Pradesh, recently we saw this multidimensional poverty index where Uttar Pradesh did a lot of big strides with respect to reducing poverty. So, these kind of small things about this. See, since I raised about the states, state-specific question is a common theme in every personality transcript if you read. There are state-specific questions for everyone in most of the occasions. So prepare state-specific issue which is being talked out throughout the country. So these kind of areas we have to see. So thank you all for joining. We have come to the end of the session. Is there anything which we have to discuss, or shall I end the session? And one important thing is, if possible, if you are in Delhi, is there anyone in Delhi? If you are in Delhi, you can come to our mock interviews in Delhi itself. So we are planning to conduct the mock interview in Delhi, in our Delhi branch, which is there in Pusa Road in Old Rajendra Nagar. So if you are from Delhi and if you want to attend the mock interview in offline mode, you can visit KingMakers IAS Academy in Delhi.
Yes, sir. I stay near Delhi in UP West, Meerut. So I would be visiting soon, I think.
Sure, sure. After the results, we are looking forward for all in the personalities. So I think so. We'll come to the end of the session. We'll wind up the session. If you're having any doubts or if you want to ask anything, you can always ping me in Telegram. You can search me in Telegram with my name itself. It's an open account. You can ping me. We'll discuss. So thank you all. We'll meet in another.